Hi guys, Kiki here from Perfume Passion. It's been about a year since I started this channel, and I just had fun with it, and I've learned so much about fragrances, and I have changed my taste a lot along the way. For almost the whole month of January, or actually the whole month of January and a little more, I've had like sort of like a white month, not allowing myself to buy any perfume, period. And what I sometimes do, just to kind of like, I want to like make sure that I learn more about my own collection, and I can sometimes choose a note and decide to learn like everything about it by bringing out all the fragrances that I have that contain a certain note. And last week I did this around the note of myrrh. So first I go online and I read on Fragrantica and other places on the internet like Wikipedia, etc., just to kind of like just to see how different kinds of people describe myrrh. And then I try to like find it in the fragrances that I own. And I also have these little essence bottles that I borrowed from a friend. That's let's see. Yeah, it's like this set. And it comes in, I have like 5 sets of these. And this is the one that features like mosses, woods, and resins. And it has, one of the bottles has myrrh. So I've actually dipped a stick into it. These are actually not for perfume. You're not even supposed to put them on your skin, but it helps you kind of train your nose. And then I try to sort of to match it how other people have described it. I'm sure there are different kinds of myrrh. You know, myrrh is something that comes from trees, that kind of runs out of trees. You can actually damage the tree on purpose to make it run out. And at first it's kind of runny, and then it hardens, it oxidizes, and then it gradually turns brown or sort of reddish. And it can look like little rocks. You've probably seen pictures of these. And it doesn't really have a smell unless you need some kind of heat. You can distill it and form some kind of oil to use to make perfume, or you can sort of set it on fire. But some heat has to be involved or you're not going to smell anything. I think when it hardens, it's no longer an organic material. Anyway, it's described as leaning towards saffron. Some people say that it is nutty. Several people have described it as something leaning toward the smell of Coca-Cola. And I can kind of see that it has like almost a fizzing, it has like a cold, a fresh quality to it, to me. Or that's at least what I think that I'm picking up. Some people say it's medicinal, warm, bittersweet, resinous, and spicy. Mossy, I've also heard. So, I mean, there are all these different words. And I thought, how do I best, find? So I've smelled the essence. It's a little hard for me to pick up on this. It's not a real strong smell, but I mean, it has a great value. This raw material, and it was one of the things that the 3 wise men brought to baby Jesus, along with gold and frankincense. And it still has a great value to the point where some of these trees that this incredible raw material comes from are becoming extinct and infertile because people are trying to harvest more of the sap than it can actually, before it can heal itself. This is kind of like the blood of the tree, just like our blood runs out when someone, if we cut ourselves with a knife, blood runs out. Same thing with the trees. And they need time to heal, which they don't do. So people want to make money, so they go and over harvest, and that's kind of a problem. Maybe it could be that some of these can be created synthetically as well. I'm not exactly sure which ones are like natural myrrh and which ones not, and how much you need to create a perfume. Okay, but one of the perfumes that I have in my collection that features the note of myrrh is Battito from Profumum Roma, and the only notes listed in this perfume are, except for myrrh, are orange flower, coconut, cacao, and is it wheat? Let me see. Let's see here. Vanilla, and myrrh, of course. And it has, this one sometimes I love it, sometimes I'm not sure what I think about it. It's kind of like almost like a love-hate thing. And one time when I went out, a friend of mine said that I smelled like a baked potato. And I don't want to smell like baked potatoes. That got me a little thinking, okay, how does this come across? But it has a real coldness to it, and I think that has to do with the combination with the orange flower and the myrrh. And orange flower sometimes is used to like create a smell of like clean laundry. this has a little bit of a clash, I think, between the coconut and the cacao, maybe. I'm not quite sure if those, and those fresh notes. I'm not sure. There's something about this fragrance. It might actually have to find a new owner eventually, but I wear it when I'm home by myself. And I'm always kind of like, oh my God, what is this? It's like it's so unique. There is nothing in my collection that even reminds me of this fragrance. Very unique. And then I have Myrrh in Amber Sultan from Serge Lutens, and this is not very helpful to be able for me to smell the note of myrrh because it's so heavily dominated by other notes. I mean, it's spicy, it's woodsy, it's resinous, it's smoky, it projects like a beast, it's heavy. I mean, I love it, but it's so overwhelming, this fragrance, and I'm not sure what in here would be myrrh, so that didn't really help me find it. On the other hand, this fragrance I think actually really did. It's called Dhjenné 22 from Pierre Guillaume. This is actually Parfumerie Générale. It's changed names. This is the EDT version. And this is a really fresh fragrance with lavender, mint, chocolate, cedarwood, myrrh, and wheat. And a white floral called Syringa that I'm not quite familiar with. But when someone said it smells like Coca-Cola, I kind of like, okay, here, I got it here. When I put my nose to this and think of Coca-Cola, I can totally match those two. And you know, Coke has that little bit of a refreshing smell to it, although I'll have to say I haven't had a Coke probably for 40 years, so maybe 30. It's kind of like a dark, refreshing fragrance. I don't know any other chocolate fragrance that would be refreshing, but this is really refreshing, and maybe it is thanks to the myrrh. It's really good, really unusual fragrance. I can use that typically in the morning. Another fragrance that I really like is from Parfums de Marly. I don't have a full bottle of it, but this is a fragrance that has apple, saffron, incense, rose, woodsy notes, myrrh, caramel, and ambergris. So it has both kind of a little bit of an animalic smell, I think, from the ambergris, and salty. Because I don't typically like typical apple pie fragrances very much. I've tried several, and I'm thinking of like Oajan from the same house, or there's one from either Gallivant or Gallagher that I've tried that I wasn't quite happy with that one. I think Apple Brandy and Angel's Share from by Kilian are that kind of same. This one is, maybe because of the myrrh, gives it more of a, makes it not be so sweet. Because what I don't like is fragrances that are too sweet. I think myrrh is one of those notes that kind of help it stay on the right side of the sweetness fence, so to speak. Habdan, get your nose on that. It's really good, actually. Another fragrance that I don't think I'll be buying a full bottle of is from the house of Initio. It's not my favorite house. I find their fragrances they're a little too much. They only sell them in really big bottles. They're not transparent bottles, and I don't like that so much. And they're really sweet and kind of like dense. I think they're even extra concentration. I'm not sure, but they're really potent, very beast mode-ish type of fragrances. But this particular one lands on the right side of the sweetness fence as well, and I think it's thanks to the myrrh. It also has bergamot in the top, but it has a nutty, kind of almondy, sweet, vanillic kind of vibe. And I find myself picking this up whenever I put something on that comes off a little bit too masculine, maybe a little bit too smoky, or too much tobacco, too woodsy, or if I wear something that's a little bit too fresh and I want to kind of like deepen it a little bit because I'm going out, then I might add a little of this. It's called Psychedelic Love, and it's actually a really good fragrance. I mean, I do like this a lot. Maybe I actually will get a full bottle someday. And I can see how myrrh is working playing its part in here. Although, like, these two made it much easier to kind of like pinpoint the note. Since it's both described as warm and cold by different people, that's what kind of intrigued me. I'm like, okay, so how does it smell? I mean, either it's cold or warm, but I'm not sure. It might be, it's a personal experience, perhaps. Another fragrance that I might go full bottle of is Bengale Rouge from Papillon Artisan Perfumes. It's a really honey dominant fragrance, and it also has myrrh, of course, since we're talking about myrrh, tonka bean, rose, vanilla, and sandalwood. And this one is This one also is, I usually don't like honey fragrances because they are too like dense and concentrated and thick and sweet. But this has that little cold, fresh touch to it, and I think it is because of the myrrh. And if you're a honey fan, this is a must try. It came out in 2019, and I think it's a kind of a good price point. It's not like $300 or anything. It's maybe 150. It's not for free, but it's not either, you know, way up there. It's so good. Someone sent me this, and I'm so grateful to him. Okay, so I have also Megalium. I have just a sample from the house of Carner, Barcelona, that also has myrrh. And this one is a spicy, kind of dark fragrance compared to like these other ones that are more fresh, the Battito and the Dhjenné at 22. This is more, it's really heavy on the cinnamon. I just have to spray it again to refresh my memory here. Yeah, this definitely has a little bit of the Coca-Cola vibe. And I think if you're thinking of Coca-Cola, I think I can get a little bit of a cinnamon vibe from it, just as I can with Megalium. I mean, the opening is beautiful. It has incense, it has myrrh, it has spices. It's a really interesting fragrance. I have to try it some more before I make up my mind if I really love it or not. But I'll have to say Megalium is intriguing me at this time, and I think it kind of helped me find myrrh in here. Okay, the last fragrance I'm going to mention is one called Ashoka, and it's by Neela Vermiere Creations. And this is a pricey fragrance. So this is my second decant of it, but it's like $300, and I think it might be worth it, but I wasn't sure because I was kind of a beginner with incense. And it has, you have to go to the official site to see the right notes because Fragrantic has gotten a lot of them wrong. It has a lot of unusual notes combined together where myrrh is definitely kind of like dominant. Myrrh and incense. Osmanthus, it has different fig notes like fig milk, fig leaves, maybe even fig something else. Was it branches? I'm not sure. It has some florals. It has geranium. It has, let's see, what have I written here? I think there's ambergris. There's all kinds of notes in here. This is an extremely interesting, beautiful fragrance that really, if you want to get into incense, this might be one of the first places I would recommend you to go. And I'm kind of all into incense now because I have a friend that got me all into it. So that kind of led me, I guess, to being more interested in myrrh as well because that's kind of close to that. Ashoka by Neela Vermiere. It was actually created by Bertrand Dechafour, which happens to be a perfumer that I run into a lot when I'm, you know, checking on perfumes, things that I like, and then I see his name. So I think that's one of the perfumers that I most appreciate. Okay, those were my thoughts on myrrh.